Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. That's S-I-R-E. I'm your host, Michael Dolce, as always joined by my co-host, who I kind of realized after many, many weeks that you legitimately want to be called this, the Lord of the Radio.
Thank you,
Hassan Godwin.
It's good to be here.
I actually just I kept thinking it was like a like something sarcastic, but
why? Why would that be sarcastic? Why would someone sarcastically want to be called the Lord of the Radio? That's a great title.
I guess so.
It's an excellent title.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
I am the Lord of the Radio.
Really knock it. Can't really knock it. We got a great show tonight because we just had a huge epic event happen on Sunday called the Super Bowl. And with it came like an assortment of trailers, and we love trailers, especially in mid-January, early February, when there is nothing else going on. Up until Black Panther was
going on.
Well, the Super Bowl, right? But we're not a sports talk radio show, therefore,
that's true.
Having the Super Bowl.
What do you think of the Super Bowl? What do you think of the game?
Oh, anytime the Patriots lose and Tom Brady loses,
that seems to be the prevailing attitude of anybody.
And I'm a Jets fan, so I have no hate against the Eagles, like Giants fans hated the Eagles.
Right.
But no, so it was actually, and not only that, it was a great game. So it's funny,
it was actually
my Super Bowl party. I don't know if anybody else has kids. Most of my friends have kids now too, so we're kind of like we're at this point where my Super Bowl party used to be like 20 plus people. I remember the last time I actually my vomit streak goes back to the 2010 Super Bowl. Because that's how epic my Super Bowl party was. Yes.
You have a vomit streak.
I have not vomited in 8 years.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I have not vomited in 8 years.
You gotta find a better way to call that, because you can't call it a vomit streak because that elicits a whole bunch of others.
An anti-vomit streak? A non-vomit streak.
Have non-vomit.
Right, I'm gonna open that up to the let's run that up the poll. We have a new intern. He's gonna put that on a poll.
Okay.
What do we call that?
Yes. I think it should be the
He's gonna actually try to do this, by the way. We haven't actually told him how to do this.
Yeah, we're not.
No, but you can do this on Twitter. You could literally on the Talk Radio NYC page. We should be doing polls.
And his inability to do it will decide whether he's ever here again.
So either way,
there's no pressure.
Right.
There's no pressure on it.
So either way, my non-vomit streak is a good 8 years now.
Non-vomit streak, I understand immediately. We should go with that.
Because we were doing power
8 years.
Hours.
You haven't vomited in 8 years?
I have a iron stomach. My 2-year-old son takes after me as well too. He did the power hour too, but it was milk. Still didn't vomit. He
kind of. Well, I guess that's settled. I guess he's all right.
For anybody who doesn't know what power hour is, you do a shot of beer every minute for an hour.
I have no idea what that is.
I got into about minute 38.
I only drink
in 2010.
Water
but this was. I'm just describing. This was the epicness of my 2010 Super Bowl party. It's an unadvertised party. We do it every year. It's unadvertised, meaning I don't actually tell anybody.
And then no one's there.
But people know. They go, "What are you doing for Super Bowl?" I'm having a party. And then they come over. Now it got to a point where it was me and like another couple who left before the game started, another couple who left at halftime, and me and my old college roommate. And we did not do a power hour.
We didn't.
Because
Why?
We didn't want to. Because we're old. And
old.
We're actually just enjoying the game.
Yeah.
And having 6 hot wings was enough to destroy my stomach.
All right.
So that's the level of where we've come.
I know a lot of alcoholics. And most of them are old, so age has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to continue to consume alcohol. You just don't.
I can do it.
You just don't want the consequences anymore.
Correct.
That's not age. That's more maturity.
No.
That's more like, there's going to be consequences from this.
No, but there's
behavior.
consequences because we're old. If we weren't old, there would not be consequences.
Right.
In which case, I would continue to do it.
All right. That's fair. All right. Well,
I'm sure that's why everyone joined our podcast tonight. They want to know about the Solo movie trailer.
Do they want to know? Because I'm sure they've all seen them.
Which debuted at the Super Bowl, which originally was... I had this whole thing, too, planned, where we were going to talk about just that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, they're really afraid to show this guy's face. Which they were during the Super Bowl.
No, they were holding it. It's a surprise. They want you to be surprised. They were holding
there
it.
There was a lack of faith.
It was a marketing scheme.
I find your lack of faith disturbing,
I didn't have
Ron Howard. Because I actually saw the trailer, right?
Mm-hmm. There was a trailer in the Super Bowl, which was about a minute, right?
Right.
And it's just solid stuff. They showed a whole bunch of dazzling special effects and car races and stuff like that. And then they showed him at the very end.
Yeah.
And then there was an extended trailer.
But it was through like
a
it was like through a vent.
Yes,
you
through a filter.
Couldn't quite see him.
You have to see it through a filter. And it was a rainstorm, and there was fog.
Yeah, I felt like you're watching like The Invisible Man, and there's like just like the bandages like wrapped around, like So there was definitely a point where I was like sitting there going like, come on, like let's but it was in preparation for the day after when they released the full trailer, and I got to tell you. It was cool. Like
all's forgiven,
fun.
Huh? All's forgiven.
No, okay.
That's how most Star Wars fans are like, "Woo, this is going to be great! I can't wait." That is. So you bring up the prevailing reaction from all Star Wars fans across the social media, across the internet machine, is I can't wait. Oh, awesome! I can't wait.
But here's the thing,
no one's
right?
learned a thing.
No. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about it too.
I can wait a long time. I can wait. Seeing
this now, I might by declaring this, I might fall directly into this nostalgia camp, and I'm okay with that. And it's not like I'm opposed to something new. I just want something new to be good, which is the whole. You can go find us on Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Go look at our videos. Go to YouTube/Secrets of the Sire. Download our podcast on iTunes. All that fun stuff, and you can hear our opinions about Last Jedi and the newer Star Wars.
Right.
Or in this particular
which
case,
might make you feel better, depending on your feelings of The Last Jedi.
Reverse psychology. Well done. No, and so, like, I can understand that. So I'm openly embracing my nostalgia. Han Solo is my favorite character. Han Solo is in the Star Wars universe. That was... And look, don't get me wrong. Alden Ehrenreich, right? That's his name? Ehrenreich, I think I got his last name right. Didn't butcher. Woo. He's got a lot... He's got a lot to...
answer for? Yes.
No, he's got a lot to.
Sorry.
He's got a lot of pressure on him.
A lot of
because Harrison Ford's not only Han Solo
training.
He's just a tremendous actor. He puts a lot in his face, in his facial features, in his reactions to things.
Right.
He speaks more in his face sometimes, in the cadence of his voice, the reaction of his voice. Even the Harrison Ford run. His running is consistent through all of his movies. I mean, even things like that.
Yeah, he always runs like he's in pain.
Right.
that's always how he seems.
There's a lot of pressure. It's a lot to live up to. So, naturally, he might just fail just for even stepping on the screen. He might fail. That being said, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see my favorite character, Ron Howard. It's got to, there's going to be, look, Ron Howard's got a track record of doing great movies. Apollo 13, Beautiful Mind, he's a solid guy. He's not Ryan Johnson. He's not trying to reinvent the wheel here, right? He's not trying to reinvent the wheel. He's just trying to tell a good story.
Well, Ryan Johnson is trying to be a director.
And he's not doing a
very good job.
No, he's not doing it. As much as we are looking at this as for Han Solo, I'm also really excited for Donald Glover as Lando.
Really?
Like, he looks pretty badass, right? I mean, he looks like a cool Lando. No? None of that was like kind of piquing your curiosity?
No. So we done?
None of that was piquing your curiosity? Let's try this again.
Oh, look, it's interesting, but that's not Harrison Ford. That's not Billy D. Williams. I don't know what the story is about.
Sure.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Trailer. I mean, that's the whole idea.
So yeah. So then, if I'm a story guy, what am I excited for?
Were you a fan of the character?
I love Han Solo.
Yeah. Were you a fan of the Lando character?
I love Lando Calrissian.
Are you a fan of Chewbacca?
I love Chewie.
Are you a fan of any of the comic books that tell extra stories? Like, are you?
I was. I'm not into the Disney era.
But you were back then, like when Dark Horse would do the comics and they would do a spin-off story of like Han Solo or things like that. Because you were interested in learning about the character. So,
well, there was stuff happening.
Right.
But there were the stakes. What are the stakes of the story?
Well, we don't know yet. I
know. So then why would I be excited for it?
What would make you pick up the issue not knowing the story behind the issue if you're in the comic book store?
The issue previous.
No. First issue, Han Solo spinoff.
It would be to see
right
what the story was going to be about.
Right. So you have I
wouldn't be excited to grab that comic before I read it.
All right, so we're getting semantical with words. Let's take away the excited part. Does this trailer make you want to go see the movie?
Sure. Yes.
Well, I mean,
I'm interested. I said I was interested.
You're going to go see it, so I mean, But okay, so your level of excitement.
Sadly,
your level of interest.
Going to see a Star Wars movie for me is kind of a foregone conclusion.
Well, okay, understood. Let's say you were not the co-host of a middling podcast. Let's say you were an actual
second chair. If I wasn't the second chair,
technically you're first chair on the feed now.
I'm just on the right.
No, but not
facing.
No,
I'm on the left-hand side, but I'm technically the guy on the right.
We read left to right. You're moving up in the world. That's exactly what's going on.
Well, I'll make sure to.
So it's funny. So
I'll tell my agent.
I posted this.
Moving up.
I posted one of the smallest posts I've ever done on Facebook, and I did it within hours of this podcast because I've just been swamped and getting through things. Right.
Okay.
And I said, "Be honest, people. You worried about the Solo movie? ? One of the most commented posts I've ever done. I mean, everyone. From Pat Shand,
I saw that.
Who did a nice?
I almost commented on it.
Yeah, did a nice meme of the Hell No, which was a really good meme. Go check that out if you can. Unless you're not friends with me, then stay off my page.
Yeah, stay away from me. Don't troll.
Michael Mamano,
trolling is bad.
Said to be worried, I'd have to have some kind of emotional investment in it. I care just enough about Star Wars to not have my geek cred revoked. So some extended universe, semi-canon spotlight film is not really at the forefront of my concern.
There you go. That's kind of how I approach it.
Gabe Firamasco, who was a previous guest.
Oh yeah.
I really like Alden in Hail Caesar before I knew he was going to be Han Solo.
We know Gabe's level of investment.
Way too much hate for this kid on the internet. But I agree with him. And here's the one thing I would sit there and say about him as a character and his look. Right. There are definitely a couple bits in the trailer, and they're not really they're the subtle bits in the trailer. You know, where you sit there and go, all right, he's got the Han cadence down pat. He's got the Han kind of head bob, you know, the scene where he's in the Millennium Falcon. You know, I'm fine. We're fine. You know, I mean, it's a throwback to Episode 4. I thought he actually pulled it off good. My only complaint from the visual standpoint, they could have done a better job with his hair. I know, as nitpicky as this is going to be, and as nitpicky as this is going to sound, if they had just done...
You think the hair is a deal breaker? You're breaking?
No. I just declared it's a nitpicky thing. I'm looking at this like. Wait. First of all, I'm coming into this with not high expectations but high hopes. Okay. I'm coming into this very positively, and I'm rooting for him to make his life easier. If they had sculpted his look to almost identical to Episode 4, it would help him out so much. And I know you've got something to say about it, and we're gonna get your reaction as soon as we come back from break.
All right.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumter, the Potentiator. Tune in every Tuesday, 9 to 10 Eastern Time, and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential. Live life your way on talkradio.nyc.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo!
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
contemplating how to do this, you being on camera next week.
I'm going to go get some sun then.
Don't
read into it.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
That was,
class.
that was very racially
Have some
insensitive.
class. See, there it is.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
see, you ruined it. It was a subtle nod to it now, and you just kind of hit it over the head with a hammer.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, talking comics, movies, TV, pop culture, talking about the Solo movie trailer, the Star Wars trailer. Christian Bonner, I was worried, but I am not anymore. It gives me Rogue One vibes. Hassan will come around, he wrote. So that's actually on the live video.
Why is my name evoked at all? Why is my name in there?
Brian Michael commented. So again,
hold on.
So many.
Hold
people.
on. No, we need to answer that question. Why is my name in there as a negative? Apparently, right? I'll come around as a negative. My name's in there as a negative.
It wasn't positive.
Why? How did that even happen? What was the post? What was the post? What did you say?
No, that's the video.
You said
no,
something.
That's the video.
Said
that's
what
the video? The actual live stream that's going on right now.
I'll come around.
I want to give a shout out to all of our beloved patrons.
I'll come around.
Go to patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire.
You keep changing the subject to try to talk about our sponsors.
Oh man, I've actually erased all of our.
Nice work.
Einar Peterson, Matt Beyer, Ashley Haikai, our program director Stephanie Dolce, our executive producer Steve Ovecki, Brian Phillips, and Christina Gillen, our Uber fan Christina Dolce, and our new Uber fan Einar Peterson. That's right, he's so good. I mentioned him twice
because you messed up and didn't realize you were supposed to keep him to the end.
Well, you know what are you gonna do?
Well, I'm just saying.
We
I'm
actually,
here to point out your
like
faults.
I said, Brian Michael commented on the original post. I said Rogue One seemed like it was going to bomb, but when I saw it, I loved it. So that's sort of my
see. That's the thing. I don't have an attitude about whether it's going to do well or not. I think it's got the Star Wars brand on it. If it's a halfway decent movie, it will do well.
Yeah.
You asked if I was excited about it.
Yes.
No.
You're not excited.
No.
But are you excited about any trailer?
What any of the trailers that we saw that we
no,
may or may
I mean
not
like
be discussing?
trailers in general.
I've seen trailers that have made me absolutely
what
excited.
What is it
for
that
movies.
makes a trailer for you? What gets you about it? So let's detach from the Star Wars angle.
Let's break it the other way, because usually a trailer does excite or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
With all that we've heard about the Solo movie,
sure,
and the delay of the trailers, you know, the extra time that we had to wait, the debate as to whether it should or shouldn't happen, this and that, whether it will be good, whether the guy can act or not. When you finally see a trailer, it wasn't enough of an event to allay all those fears and the discussion. I mean, any trailer from a multi-billion-dollar company like Disney or Lucasfilm associated with Disney is not going to put out a bad-looking trailer.
Sure.
So the fact that everyone's like, "Oh, well, that solves it. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic." No, sorry. It's a decent trailer. It looks like a science fiction movie.
Yeah.
It just looks like a well-budgeted science fiction movie. It's got people I'm interested in, but look, as far as I'm concerned yet, that's not Han Solo. That's not Lando. That is Chewie, because he looks like Chewie. And that's really not a stretch to do Chewie in a show. And so I will have to now. If they had shown him and they had done extensive stuff, and he did a scene where he was talking to Lando, and the two of them were talking back and forth, and it actually seemed like, okay, wait, that is Han Solo,
all right,
and that is Lando. Then I'd be like, I'm really excited for this. I was not a big fan or a big supporter of the Star Trek 2009, the Abrams reboot, but Zachary Quinto looked like Spock. I was like, okay, that's Spock.
Sure.
You know? And I had huge doubts about Chris Pine. Like, they're never going to be able to pull that off. We're never going to be able to have a Kirk that is not William Shatner.
Sure.
And watching Kirk and seeing that the kid didn't go for the obvious Shatner-isms. He kind of did Kirk, but he kind of tried to make Kirk his own thing.
Yeah.
I was able to buy it. I'm like, okay, that's a Captain Kirk. That is not the Captain Kirk, but that is a Captain. He's Kirk enough for me to sit here and say, okay, that's Kirk. Sure. Right? That's fine. if they had done that for these trailers, I would have absolutely been like, okay, I'm excited for it. If I had been able to see I think that is Lando, I think that is Han, I'm excited for it.
Sure.
Right? But I didn't. I just saw a really well-produced, slick-looking trailer for a science fiction movie that's coming out that's called Solo. I don't know what the movie's about. I don't know what he's going to be dealing with. I don't know what the stakes are. I don't know what he's going to be going through. Yeah. He's going to be a scoundrel. He's going to be scoundrel-esque through the whole darn story. That's pretty much a given. So,
let me ask you a question. Given the technology we have, would you have been more in favor of Harrison Ford being projected on screen as a young Harrison Ford throughout the entire movie, and Billy D. Williams being projected on screen as a young Billy D. Williams for the entire movie? Because they have that technology, the Avatar technology. You could literally make a movie with the older actors, motion captured, and projected on screen as their younger selves. And for the most part, there might be some bad CGI in there, but for the most part, they can pull it off. Would you have been rather in favor of that than the recasting of the younger versions for this film?
I wouldn't have been in favor of that.
Really?
No.
But at the same time, you're kind of complaining that they don't look like the part.
I didn't say that these guys aren't those characters, and so screw it, I'm not going to see it.
Yeah.
I'm saying that the trailer didn't convince me that those guys were going to be the characters we had before.
Okay.
But if you had done these like painted dolls, these effigies of these two guys, made young, it would have just the question would have still been why. Okay, why did we need to do this? You spent millions of dollars to try to make these guys look young so that we could have them, in an adventure that, like why? What's the point? So
it's funny you mentioned that. So Chris Mullen also chimed in. I'm telling you, this post is great. This basically writes our show. We don't have to do anything. I'm normally not a betting man, but would wager we're approaching the threshold of diminishing returns. This is assuming we haven't already.
I would agree with that.
Right?
I would agree.
So
I don't think I will never say that something is not necessary because art is not necessary. Nothing is necessary.
Right.
If
we got a couple of those too where they're sitting there like
I think that's
they're like I've got more important things to worry about than a Star Wars movie. It's like, well, that's not the point of the question.
I think it's a terrible. I think that is a terrible critique. It's not a useful critique. It's valid if you feel that way. I don't think it's necessary. That's fine, but I don't think that's a good critique. If someone asks you a question, are you going to go? Do you like it? Do you think that's a good idea? For me, the critique is it didn't have to happen is not going to do anybody any good. But the whether or not it should have happened or not, if you're going to tell me to go see it, you have to give me a reason to go see it. You know, you have to give me. You can't just say, "Oh, it's Star Wars," and and it may or may not be Han Solo who's in it. You have to give me more than that, and they're not. Now, I don't think that this doesn't have to happen, therefore it's bad, but I think it's kind of a misread of what people would want.
Right.
I think you need to stop. They didn't have to thread the needle like this, because you have so much that this kid, like as Gabe says, he's very unfairly. There's too much on his plate.
I know.
He's got to hold a movie. He's got to hold a movie up. He's got to act, and then he's got to convince us that he's another very famous, still alive actor who is much beloved and who was actually the emotional focal point for the relaunch of the entire series.
Yeah.
His death was the emotional focal point. That's a lot to eat, And you're gonna you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to have that. You didn't have to gamble like this.
That line of "have to" though, it's such a fine line.
I'm just saying, if you got it, you have the franchise. You have to make movies.
Right.
This particular thing, you didn't need to put. There's a lot of jeopardy here.
Sure. Because
look, I know they didn't bank on it, and I know they're trying to spin it differently. But The Last Jedi was a disappointment, and there are entities. There are famous entities now. There are very reputable entities. Who are actually saying it's a disappointment. They're openly saying it's a disappointment. Fandom is fairly split. They didn't have expectations of this, but to follow that up with this, where there's a lot that they have to to accomplish.
This is like the guy showing up at the party after the party's already been broken up by the cops. And he's like, hey, guys, I got the... Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's not even his
why
fault.
Why wouldn't anybody tell me?
Yeah, it's not even his fault.
It's like he's just, he was just getting ready. He was ready to go to this party.
The Star Trek Into Darkness got pilloried mostly. It wasn't a great movie, but it also got pilloried because it was a really bad copy of The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah,
which is where Abrams finally started to wear his knack for being derivative on his sleeve. Like people were actually saying, "Oh, come on, JJ, you and your reboots." And then 5 minutes later, career-wise, not a great choice, but he really didn't have a choice. They offer you a Star Wars movie, you got to take it.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, he does a reboot of A New Hope. So now he's stuck with it. So it's just kind of, he didn't plan it that way.
Yeah,
he didn't want it to be that way. He didn't, and maybe he doesn't even think that he is derivative. Maybe he believes that he's being as creative as possible. This is the same scenario again, where you're kind of stuck in a bad,
it's like a loop.
Yeah, you're stuck in a bad situation that you didn't know. There was no need for that. There was no need for that.
I'm going to ask a question.
This was a decent rant.
I'm going to ask a question.
Look what he did to it.
I'm going to ask a question.
I don't want to answer your questions.
And
that portion of the show is over.
This is a question I've never asked you before.
Oh, okay.
Do you watch South Park? If
you know what? I partake in South Park quite a bit, quite frequently, as a matter of fact.
If you do, there was a great episode where they had to reboot the national anthem, so they called in J.J. Abrams. They're like, we need to because Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, and they're like, "Who do we need to reboot the national? Who do we get? J.J. Abrams." And he gets it. So just basically, when they play the national anthem, everyone kneels. And that's now the sign.
He has to stand
now
up.
that's the right, exactly. Now that's the sign of appreciation for it. So go
done,
watch
South Park.
We have more important questions to get to as well, too, though. Besides whether or not you watch South Park or not, what do we put on the poll? In this first segment, in case you missed it, I was talking about my vomit streak, and in my mind, a vomit streak was number of days/years where I have not thrown up. Hassan thinks it's a non-vomit streak. And our new alpha intern, Susumu? Yeah, I got it. Oh, I didn't butcher the name. Very nicely done.
Twice tonight that you did not kill a name.
This is not easy.
Because you got Aaron, what's his face? I didn't even get his name right. Well done.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
And so he was basically saying, we're going to put something on the Talk Radio NYC Twitter feed, but we don't know how to describe this.
Okay.
What would you describe a number of years between vomiting? Would you call it a vomit streak, a non-vomit streak, or let's hear if there's something else.
It can't be vomit streak. I'm
sorry.
I
think there's got to be,
It can't be, because it sounds like a streak of vomiting. It sounds like you've been vomiting for 5 years.
All right, I'm going to reach out to our audience before we post anything on the poll. We'll put the poll up for 24 hours after we get this right. We'll get it up before the end of the show is up.
Yeah, because this is important. This is going to get us. This is going to take us to internet heights.
How would you phrase this question? And I throw it out to you guys. And then, speaking of vomiting, Cloverfield. We won't waste too much time on that. We got Infinity War trailer.
Well, I guess they all know how we feel.
Next.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
It's like when you name your kid Jeeves and he becomes a butler, It's like you just know.
Yeah, you screwed your kid.
You've set a course. You've set a course for that kid.
Yes. But just living up to his lowered expectations.
Well, don't insult butlers.
They're already after me for other reasons that I don't want to go into right now.
This is true. We'll devote a special show to that.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. I want to thank all of our live viewers. We got Stephanie Dolce, Benny Rose, former guest Brian Everham, Christian Bonner, Adam Beckian, Amanda Dolce McCormick, Gabe Firamasco, Brian Everham again because he's a good commenter. He does a pretty good job.
Yeah, Ryan's always.
You know who's on also? Donato.
Remember Donato?
Yeah.
No way.
And Mr. Joe Movey just joined as well. Donato was a fan favorite from the Wizard days.
Yes, he was.
Hassan and I worked at
Good
Wizard
man.
Magazine for many, many years together. That's how we
met.
Got into this.
That's how we got
while
into
we
this
are figuring out the first poll
trap.
question, the second poll question is off of that last drop. What was exactly the question? How?
Yeah.
Why are all the butlers after Hassan? I realize I've made a lot of empty promises on this show, and I
usually immortalized in the form of a drop.
And I intend to continue.
Yes, well done.
Reason number one. I'm throwing it out here. What do we got here? Reasons butlers are after Hassan.
Oh man,
because of insulting the name Jeeves.
Insulting Jeeves.
Well,
Okay,
that's a terrible name. I'm sorry.
That's number one.
That is a bad name.
Number two, the government. That's the second reason.
because the government.
Because the government.
Just because government.
It's got to be spelled the government.
Government. Yeah.
The government.
The government. Yeah.
The government. And
the government after me, man.
Number three, the messy left in the bathroom.
The messy left in the bathroom.
Oh,
number three.
Listen, I thought we weren't going to be talking about that on the air.
And number
That
four.
is-
And
that is
number
not
four
cool.
will be Star Wars: Last Jedi.
Yep. Yes. Because why not? Right.
Because why not? If you got some more stuff on Star Wars, we're going to actually go into it in the next segment a little bit more, but in a different angle. A certain tandem responsible for one of the greatest TV shows of all time who's going to be stepping forward into the Star Wars realm, but we'll get into that when we spin the racks.
Spin the racks.
One other trailer that debuted. Well, there was three other good trailers that debuted. One trailer that was so amazing until people actually got to see the movie was the Cloverfield one. And that was a really cool,
It was
marketing ploy.
The idea that it was coming out was kind of amazing. It was kind of a retread of the original trailer. It was mostly the original trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah, but no, you know what was amazing though? Was we were watching this and we're like, oh, they're bringing this back. Oh, neat. Okay. And then you're kind of sitting there going, look, I kind of enjoyed the movie. Oh, it's on Netflix. I can watch it tomorrow. Like that to me was like that was like the whole like
which is the model that they said that they wanted to try. They're going to try to do for feature films,
right?
A couple of many years, maybe a decade down the line, but it's going to come out and then you could just watch it,
right?
You know.
But now, when it did actually hit, apparently it splashes then crashes on Netflix. Netflix's surprise debut of the Cloverfield Paradox comes into clearer focus upon seeing the movie, making the clever marketing maneuver feel less like an industry game changer. Than adopting the old maxim, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That's not to say the film, loosely spun out of the universe of Cloverfield, is a total disaster, but overall it is an ungainly, ill-conceived mess, the kind that likely would have crashed and burned at the box office. So now people are looking at it going like, well, it found new life on Netflix because it was straight to DVD.
How bad could it be, though? I want to check it out. I'm going to probably check it out this week. But I mean, it's a monster movie, right? In theory, right? It's a direct sequel to the first one, as opposed to the Mary Elizabeth Winstead turn in 10 Cloverfield Lane, was it called? Yeah. Which was not. Had nothing to do with the original Cloverfield.
Right.
So this one actually has something to do with Cloverfield.
I'm a big Mary Winstead fan too. Unfortunately, not in that movie.
Yeah, but me too. So we got to be cool about that. But yes, I'm a fan of hers
run it
also.
up the poll. Who would Mary Winstead prefer, Hassan or Mike?
That's
God! A poll right
Where's
there.
that got to be? No,
I want to know what people think.
No, that's easy. But anyway. No, I'm all flummoxed now.
That's it. You're flummoxed now
because I'm thinking about no. Okay.
In related news,
But,
Hassan was fired from Secrets of the Sire for sexually inappropriate behavior
out of nowhere because of something you brought up, which is perfect. But this is a direct sequel.
Wouldn't it be awesome? If one of us if we somehow got accused of that and then people actually cared because then it would mean like we were somehow famous. Like at this point in my life, I'd be because my wife would be like, "What happened? How dare you? What did you do?" And I'd be like, "Honey, I made the papers." People seem to
That's
think
not how you want to make the papers, though.
I know, right?
There's some ways you don't want to make the papers.
Actually, that's a great point because I think about that all the time with my son. I'm like, son, don't end up in the newspaper.
Exactly.
Whatever you do,
exactly.
don't end up
there's some
in the
attention you
newspaper.
don't want. I know you're a kid and you're a little attention nut right now, but there's some attention that's bad. So
just don't.
Just teach him right. Just teach him right, Mike. Just do that.
Brian Everhand brought up a really good point.
He always does.
What
It's
if,
annoying.
What if during the Super Bowl they had Donald Glover star in a commercial for Colt 45, just like Billy D used to? Would you be more interested in seeing the solo film? Run it up the poll. That's a poll question.
Yes.
That is a poll
question. To answer
question.
Brian's question, yes.
That's a poll question.
I would see that in the heartbeat. Oh my God! They did it. They captured it. They did it. That is definitely Lando.
I would definitely.
I'm going to see that.
In fact, they should have done that as the trailer. Like that should have been the trailer.
They could have done that, and that would have been nostalgically perfect. That would have been a marketing genius. But then they would have been ripped immediately for hawking beer and B being
if they would have
black
done
exploitationist.
That, if they would have done that, and then just showed a quick montage of the solo film, epic. And then if they said at the end.
Like the way they did,
and then in the end, debuting on Netflix tomorrow.
They were right tomorrow. Yeah, if Solo debuted on Netflix that night, it would have been fantastic. What is it like to do like the Crocodile Dundee ad that they pushed as a movie, and then you found out it was just an ad?
Well, now they're saying there might be a movie now.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a movie.
Market testing, baby, market testing. All right, we got to get through a whole bunch here because we only have an hour, but this is good. One other thing, real briefly, Westworld.
Yeah.
Were you into Westworld season 1?
Yeah, I actually did enjoy the first season.
Season 1 was amazing. I thought it was. To me, it picked up
I don't know about amazing.
Picked up the mantle of engaging television that Game of Thrones is going to hand off.
It was really good. It was really well done. It was really engaging. I did want to watch every week, but it did not break any new ground. It's the AI phenomenon again and again and again.
Sure.
These people. When you play God and you make fake people, the fake people become real people. That's basically the trope that's been followed.
To me though, what set that apart was the dual storyline. I think like the Ed Harris character to me, is the one that. So it's funny. Shameless plug here. I have a new comic book out with Talon Caldwell. It's in previews right now. It's called The Mainstream. But we were talking about this.
Call the comic shameless.
We were talking about this last night, though, as we were plotting out some of the scripts for issue 3 and 4. And I said, what happens with this character? And we kind of said, well, you know what? We don't want to kill this character because I love the trope of setting up a character to be one thing, and then maybe down the road. He can be something else. He or she can be something else. Okay. And essentially what they did in that entire first season, at least for me, was set up Ed Harris's character to be this villain, this heinous kind of like, oh my God, look how he treats these things. Even though they're things, they're kind of people and this and that. Mm-hmm. And then you finally get the big reveal of his backstory. You get the two timelines kind of going at the same time. And you're like, oh crap, we kind of get him now a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And okay, no, I kind of like this guy, and now I'm kind of rooting for this guy in this world for season 2. To me, that's brilliant storytelling.
Well, we agree to disagree on that.
So Westworld was a big one. Not really much to say there. What we did want to get into, though, was the Infinity War trailer. Infinity War basically debuted. It was their second trailer. This one was a pretty cool trailer. Gave you a lot more in it, and one thing in particular that got a lot of shall we say attention is the Infinity War trailer. Big question: where's Cap's shield? So there's a particular scene, thanks to last night's. This is off of Polygon.com. Last night's Super Bowl spot for Avengers Infinity War. We now have 2 trailers for the epic team-up movie. And that's enough to start drawing parallels, namely what's up with Captain America's shield. Both trailers have taken time to highlight the good captain's reliance on a defensive object as his primary weapon. And he's not working with the usual kit in Infinity War. Now, for us comic book, are we nerds or geeks? I guess I'm more of a nerd when it comes to comic books. Like, I'm pretty in-depth about particular titles, and Captain America being one of them. It's not unheard of. There was an entire run where he had the hologram.
Lord of the radio. I'm not either a nerd or a geek.
That is not true at all.
That's totally true.
You are...
No. You said at the beginning of the show. Now you're giving false advertising.
Well, no, I'm not saying you're not the Lord of the Radio.
Yeah,
I'm merely saying that as Lord of the Radio, that does not mean you're not a comic book nerd.
No. When you become Lord of the Radio, it cancels out all other labels.
So you're labeling nerd as a derogatory term. Is nerd a derogatory term? Run it up the poll. Run it up the poll. No, but there's
it is a derogatory term.
There's sequences,
especially if you call yourself
not
a nerd.
anymore now.
No, I'm just saying if you're a nerd, then that's pretty bad.
Oh
right?
no, if you call someone else a nerd, it's bad. If you call yourself a nerd,
you're self-apply nerd, right?
Yeah.
Right. So now being nerd is bad because it's affiliated with you.
Oh,
see what I'm saying? It's an insult.
I see.
See what I'm saying? When we're right over your head.
Oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I don't know what
it's
racist.
Being a nerd is racist.
Yeah, to me, the
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
To me, the shield thing is kind of a
Didn't
cool
he lose
thing.
his shield? He gave his shield up at the end of Civil War because he was fighting with fighting with Iron Man, and Iron Man said his father made the shield,
right,
and that you don't deserve it, so he dropped the shield.
Right.
So then that's why he doesn't have the shield.
I know.
People are stupid. We can move on. Why is anybody even upset about this? He'll get it back. Trust me. It's part of his character. Either Captain America will die, or he'll get his shield back.
So I've told this story before, and I want to give a shout out to Priya, who just joined. Priya's also got a show on Friday. Follow Me Friday with Joan and Priya on Talk Radio NYC,
which is a great name for
it is actually. Yeah, it is.
For sure.
This is kind of the new. I've told this story before, but I love it when things are kind of like our own. And then you kind of sit there and go I wish more people were into the things I was into. Pearl Jam was the biggest band in the world, and then they kind of receded in the 2000s. But I was still big into them, and I was like, their shows are amazing. This is such an amazing group. I wish people.
Yeah, why don't you love them like
why
I
don't
love
they
them?
love? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, people kind of realized that their live shows became so amazing, and it became this thing. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you go to these live shows, and there's all these extra people there now, and you're like, wait a minute, no, this is my thing. Get away! Why did you come here?
Yeah.
So.
Because you're psychotic.
Right.
It's kind of psychotic.
It's fine, but that's how I feel. I mean, that's how I kind of feel about this comic book movie stuff. It's like I get to finally see all this stuff up on screen, and then all of a sudden it's like, but wait a minute, no, where did you come from? And where did you come from?
Yeah, all these side people and all the satellite people who don't have
this film. You don't love it like I love it.
Well, that's kind of how I felt about Star Wars and everybody chiming in about what shouldn't happen. And this is, what did they say about The Last Jedi? This is finally blowing out the thing that it can't be only a Skywalker who's a Jedi. I'm like, wait a minute, that just means you haven't watched or you haven't experienced any of this stuff. You're an idiot. So, yes.
Yeah, so I'm
kind of
watching this, and people are kind of talking about the shield. I'm like, you
amateurs.
Amateurs.
That doesn't even correlate because that just means you didn't watch the last movie. He lost the shield in the last movie. It's not even like that was 3 movies down,
it's funny,
or tied in.
Or does this mean because you bring up a great point though, right? Are we that oversaturated with comic book movies now to the point where I actually forgot that as well too? And
really?
Not that I get paid for this, but it's my job to remember these things.
But you just nodded your head when I went through that all as though you remember.
You brought it back up to me, and I go, "Oh yeah, that was a stroke of I forgot about that."
Well, yeah, he gave his shield up. That was a big part of the last 5 minutes of that film.
Yeah,
it was a concession. He was fine. Yeah. You don't think I deserve this? I'll drop it right there.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Infinity War, and then we're going to go right back into Star Wars and a certain Fox Marvel character who had a fun day tweeting during the Super Bowl.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you feeling unhappy with your body, shape, or size? Ever feel out of control with food? I'm Elizabeth from Nourish the Soul, and on this show, you will uncover the root to these imbalances and discover a permanent solution to having a healthy relationship to food and your body. Join us every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
Can a man actually get up with any kind of macho manliness and say Twilight was a good film franchise and or movie? That's like the guy wearing the pink shirt, right? Like he feels completely confident.
But men can rock the pink.
Wait!
Sam the engineer is wearing pink, right?
I just pulled a Hassan.
Secrets of the Sire.
We are super high tech. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. That is one of our favorite drops because it actually was happening in the studio, but that was before our primitive. That was when we were using our primitive cameras. So now, if you're watching the live feed, we get our super high def cameras, and I can actually turn it. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that
Snazzy.
Hassan, this has got to be kind of meta for you a little bit because you are watching the feed, but not the actual like. You're watching the live feed, which has like a 2-second delay or a 3-second delay.
Don't tell anybody I'm watching.
So it's kind of like
narcissistic.
funny. No, you have to be watching it to look at the comments. I mean, you have to respond to the comments.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Right. Oh, so you're just watching it for you.
Well, you know,
All right.
just
All right.
hell
Well, that,
of a good-looking guy.
That changed my whole perception of you.
How I feel there.
In 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Go on
Yeah,
the
right.
talkradio.nyc Twitter feed. It's at talkradio.nyc.
Do it.
Our
do
alpha
it.
intern.
Do it.
Intern. Our alpha intern is posting many polls. Well, he got one up there.
Yes.
And hopefully
Which
a
is
second
kind of-
one. We'll
it's a
see if
start
that
to
happens.
many.
And I retweeted it, so go out there and you can
It's
check it out.
many-ish.
We appreciate all of our top commenters. I'm gonna give you a shout out tomorrow when we give our video replay as well too. So we love that. And again, check us out on iTunes. Just look up Secrets of the Sire. I really do request that if you guys do like the show and you're on Facebook and you're watching us, please go and just subscribe. You don't have to re-listen to the podcast, but just go subscribe because the more subscribers, the more downloads we will get, and then it just helps us keep doing this because we want to keep doing this. And
yeah, we do. We want to keep doing it. I mean, kind of.
I mean, it would have been nice
right.
tonight because it's like it was disgusting out to stay home. But
it would have been, nice.
Either way. All right, we were talking.
Yeah, I really wish I was home right now.
We were talking Infinity War trailer, Captain America's shield. Aside from that, the other takeaway from that trailer that I really, really liked.
What's that?
I like the scenes of Spider-Man in it. I really do. And I know we had our guest Jeff Gomez on a couple episodes ago. Go check out our replays and feeds in that.
Do it.
And he was talking about how Spider-Man is like the most marketable character. He is, I mean...
It is really like unbelievably cool.
He is my nostalgic favorite, even if like I'll sit there and say like X-Men became my favorite.
3 movies now, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like I just remember like a minute ago us talking about Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, and how not great that was, and how they might be able to buy it so that he could show up in these movies. And now we're 3 movies in, and Spider-Man is part of the MCU.
Yeah.
He's just there. He's not going anywhere.
I know. And
so
it's impressive.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty crazy.
Very pretty. It's very, very cool. So, to me, I mean, there's not really much to comment on that trailer because I think I'm excited. I was excited after the first one, kind of seeing everybody in the fields of Wakanda, kind of rushing together, the Hulk running in the background, and Black Panther. Like that enough to me was enough to get me kind of excited to go see it.
Everything that I've seen about it is kind of great, and like I said. Like saying about the Solo movie, we know what the stakes are in this one. We know what's going on. We know what the story's about. So that kind of makes me excited, not necessarily for the story, but to see how they pull this story off.
Sure.
Because this is unprecedented. This really has never happened before.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they're kind of what are they 20 for 20 almost? They're 18, right? So they're 20 for. Or they're 18 for 18, right? Because I screwed that up. But it really hasn't been a flop.
No.
Kind of the worst movie I've seen
Was the second Avengers, right?
Yeah, which I did not like. You know, I didn't think it was great, but it did well.
I didn't walk out of there being like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah, no.
I was like, not as good.
No, exactly. Because the first Avengers was an amazing experience, you know, and especially if you walk in there and you're not and you're not invested no matter what,
right?
And you walk out going, I need to see that again. That's an accomplishment.
No,
that's what
I
happened
agree.
for the first one.
I agree, and that's the thing too for this trailer too. I mean, it's a culmination. They did it so well. I mean, having Guardians of the Galaxy now. You know, how are they going to interact with Thor? How are they going to interact with the rest of the Marvel Universe? Again, bringing Spider-Man into the fold.
It's a big deal. There's a lot going on.
Robert Downey Jr., who is like the leader of this Marvel movement, because he was like, I mean, I guess technically he was the first Marvel movie. I mean, there's so much, there's so much to this that it's not going to be bad. My only fear, and again, this is the level of fear of the Star Wars franchise, you know, versus like the Marvel franchise. I mean, like my level of is it just going to be too overwhelming? Like that's the only fear that I have.
That also goes
that's
into
like one of those things. It's like
that also goes into, are you excited? I don't get excited about these things on purpose because nothing ever lives up to your imagined expectations. Right. You know, and that's not because you overshoot. It's just because you expect to have a particular experience.
Sure.
Like it's some kind of revelation while you're there.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen, it's just really a good movie. You know, you're likely to come out saying it wasn't good.
Now, Brian Everham.
Oh, Brian again.
He's our stud commenter for tonight.
We put that guy on the payroll.
Shh, what are you doing?
I'm sorry.
I barely pay you anything.
Yeah, I don't get paid.
You pay me. The solo film is going to show how they made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Oh, yay.
Did we need to see that?
No. But now, it's a space race. We're going to do a story about a space race.
Now I'm kind of curious.
Now you're kind of curious.
All right, speaking of Star Wars, love the segue. Very, very well done. That's not the only Star Wars news that kind of happened. There's a certain show called Game of Thrones and a certain tandem. Game of Thrones creators to write, produce new series of Star Wars movies. Lucasfilm has announced the creators of Game of Thrones, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff. Which I always want to say like Benioff, but Benioff or Benioff, but it's Benioff. Will write and produce a new series of Star Wars films for the company.
Denisoff.
Yes, no, exactly. That's exactly.
Yeah.
Bam. Get out of my head.
I'm sorry.
Which are separate,
there's a lot of space in here.
Separate from both the episodic Skywalker saga and the previously announced trilogy that is in development from Rian Johnson. David and Dan are some of the best storytellers working today. Their command of complex characters, depth of story, and richness of mythology will get thrown out as we force them to adhere to a policy of making crappy movies. Now, I made that up.
Yeah, because I was definitely going to say their ability to adapt someone else's writing.
Depth of story and richness of mythology will break new ground and boldly push Star Wars in ways I find incredibly exciting.
Their ability to adapt someone else's depth of
We will finally get to see the Luke and Leia scene together. That's what I was thinking. The scene fans never asked for. Because Game of Thrones has the incest.
So they're still... the question is, they're still going through with the Brian trilogy. And that's kind of, I don't know. I'm sorry that's happening. That's what doesn't make me excited about the future.
Yeah.
Because that guy, I mean, I'm sorry. That guy's no good. And they're going to find that out. They're gonna discover that. Unless they get him some help, they're going to discover that.
So as Sam alerted me, I was so excited to talk about the Star Wars news that we forgot to mention that this is a segment we like to call Spin the Racks.
I was actually happy that you forgot about that, but great. Thanks, Sam. It's wonderful of you.
It's where we talk about the fantastical news of the day, and we just talked all Star Wars today, so we might as well just loop that in. Deadpool 2 viral site promotes Deadpool's fan club. New character photos of Deadpool 2 have been released via a viral site that lets you join the Merc with a Mouth's fan club. The untitled Deadpool sequel has so far foregone a proper marketing campaign and instead leaned into Wade Wilson's irreverent personality. It's kind of funny, though, because I actually saw a tweet during the Super Bowl about Deadpool complaining that he did not get the trailer he was supposed to get during the Super Bowl. He goes, great, something like great trailer, remember that time that I was supposed to get a big superhero trailer, but that got and then he linked to the news story in the tweet So it was
Really?
actually Deadpool
So he was
tweeting
pissed.
about
Deadpool was pissed.
Deadpool.
Nothing usually gets
The
to Deadpool.
actual character was pissed. So, but the first Deadpool 2 trailer is attached to Black Panther, according to sources, which makes sense given their Marvel connection. It also means the first real look at the movie will arrive just 3 months before the film. We haven't been without Deadpool content in the meantime, however, as all sorts of funny images and posters have arrived. Just today, a Flash Dance-inspired Deadpool 2 poster teased that more promotion was forthcoming. Now a viral site for the film has gone online. So, DeadpoolCore.com.
Brian Reynolds' Resurrection.
Oh yeah, but he still hasn't done a
character.
single movie past that.
No, he's doing the same thing that
this is it.
He's
this
doing
is
the Chris
his Van
Tucker.
Wilder. This is his Van Wilder.
That's the Chris Tucker.
Yeah,
it's the Chris Tucker. He did Rush Hour, right?
Yeah.
And then he didn't make a movie after Rush Hour to diminish him. So they had to pay him like $20 million for the next Rush Hour.
Yeah. He's like, I got bills to pay.
Yeah, because
I thought I'd be more famous.
But
than
his
this.
credit was that high because of the last movie that he made. That they had to actually meet his salary.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what Ryan Reynolds, excuse me.
Brian Reynolds is the cook.
Yes.
The fry cook down the street.
Yes, his brother.
I want to squeeze this in before we got to go. This was on from a couple weeks ago. I never got it in, but No Phone Zone. The people behind the Oscars are going to great lengths to make sure they do not mess up the envelopes. That means that no employee is allowed on their phones during the Oscars because they think that the guy who was handing the correct envelope and the incorrect envelope was on Twitter taking a photo of him and I think
handing out the
Reese
envelopes?
Witherspoon right before he was to give the envelope in. So no phones.
Really? That was
during
like
the
2 years
Oscars.
ago. That didn't
No,
happen
was
again.
Year. That was last year.
Well, okay, but the Oscars happened this year. That didn't happen
Not
this
yet.
year.
Not
So
yet.
that was 2 Oscars ago.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
right. It was 2 Oscars ago.
So that's kind of what I meant.
Next week we've got Victoria Bennett from the Adultish podcast coming on. We're gonna do superhero hookup in honor of Valentine's Day. We're gonna hook your favorite superheroes up together. At least that's what I got right now.
That sounds exciting.
See you next week.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.